She stands in front of you, calm, smiling, but beneath that smile, a storm is brewing. One wrong word, and the air turns heavy, the room feels smaller, and you're suddenly trapped in a battle you never signed up for. But what if I told you you could walk through that storm without a single drop touching you? Imagine being in a relationship where arguments simply do not exist, where raised voices, cold silences, and endless cycles of blame are replaced by calm conversations, mutual respect, and an unshakable emotional bond. Most people think that's a fantasy, but what if I told you it's a skill you can learn, master, and use to transform every relationship you have with a woman? For over 3 years, I have not had a single argument with the women in my life. Not because I avoid conflict, and not because I let things slide, but because I understand one thing most men never do. The way women process emotion is completely different from the way we do. What I'm about to share with you is not a quick tip or a pickup line. It's a fundamental shift in how you see female psychology, how you hear her words, how you respond to her emotions, and how you protect your own emotional state in the process. And once you truly understand it, arguments stop being battles you try to win and start becoming opportunities to lead, to connect, and to deepen trust. But before I explain the techniques, you must understand the most important law of male-female communication, what I call the amplification principle. Women aren't more emotional in some vague, random way. It's not a personality quirk or a stereotype. It's a biological design feature. Their brains are wired to detect, absorb, and amplify the emotional tone you project, often without them consciously realizing it. This means they're not just hearing your words, they're feeling your energy. If you speak with steady, calm curiosity, that calm doesn't just stay in your voice, it grows inside her. She starts to mirror it. But if you speak with irritation, even the smallest trace of it, she will feel it expand inside her chest like a wave. You might think you're keeping your cool because your words are measured, but the tone is what slips through the cracks. And that's what her nervous system locks onto. This isn't drama. It's hardwired survival biology. For tens of thousands of years, women had to be finely tuned to the emotional shifts in the people around them, especially their partners, to keep themselves and their infants safe. A tiny flicker of fear or aggression in someone nearby could mean danger. That sensitivity kept families alive. Fast forward to today, and that same sensitivity still runs deep. It's why you can say, "I'm fine," and genuinely believe it. Yet if your tone carries even a hint of frustration, she won't buy the words. You've already told her the truth through your voice. The tone is the signal she will trust, because for her, tone has always been a more reliable survival cue than language. The mistake most men make in conflict is assuming that being right is enough. They think that if their logic is flawless, if they've built an airtight case, the discussion should be over. But relationships aren't a courtroom, and being technically correct doesn't guarantee connection. Here's the truth. Logic without the right emotional tone can land like rejection. You may be offering reason, but if your delivery is emotionally cold, she's not hearing resolution, she's feeling distance. Many men fall back on what I call the stone face, intense moments. It's the emotional equivalent of putting up a shield. They tell themselves they're staying calm, neutral, and rational. But to a woman, that flatness doesn't feel neutral at all. It feels like disconnection. And disconnection, at a biological level, registers as abandonment. That's not exaggeration. It's how the human attachment system works. When she senses emotional withdrawal, even without raised voices or harsh words, her body reacts as if the bond is under threat. The conversation stops being about the original point and starts being about whether you're still with her. This is why removing all emotion from your tone backfires. What you need instead is tone mastery, the skill of filtering out negative emotions like irritation, sarcasm, or contempt, while keeping your voice warm, steady, and engaged. Think of it as keeping the emotional bridge open even while you disagree. You're not just delivering facts, you're delivering them in a way that says, "I'm still here with you. We're still connected." When you can combine clear logic with emotional presence, you stop turning disagreements into battles and start turning them into moments of trust. Before you even think about applying these communication techniques, you need to understand something fundamental: mate selection. The truth is, not every woman you meet will want the kind of connection you're trying to build. Some women thrive on drama. They don't crave peace. They crave the emotional spikes that come from conflict. For them, chaos isn't a problem. It's a source of excitement, almost like an adrenaline hit. And here's the hard reality. No matter how good your emotional skills are, you can't turn that into a healthy relationship. You can be the calmest, most grounded man in the world, but if her nervous system runs on drama, your peace will feel boring to her. She'll stir the pot just to feel alive. That's why you need an early warning system. It's not about paranoia, it's about pattern recognition. Pay attention in the first weeks and months. Do her stories often paint her as the victim and everyone else as the villain? Does she test your boundaries just to see what you'll do? Is there a thread of subtle disrespect woven into her jokes or comments? Does her mood swing from warmth to hostility with no clear trigger? These aren't harmless quirks or things you can fix if you just try harder. They are signs of a deeper pattern, a relationship operating system built on instability. And patterns don't disappear because you're patient or understanding. They just repeat. The best defense isn't to fight harder for her approval. It's to walk away early. That means keeping your options open and not locking yourself into exclusivity until you've seen enough of her behavior under stress. Choose a partner who values peace as much as you do. Someone whose idea of excitement comes from shared growth and play, not from constant emotional turbulence. When you choose well from the start, all the communication skills you've learned actually have a place to land. And that's when a relationship can truly thrive. When you do find a partner who values peace and stability, the question becomes, how do you lead in the relationship without it turning into a fight? The answer lies in how you communicate correction, concern, or disagreement. One of the most effective tools is what I call the warmth sandwich. This means you open with genuine care, deliver the necessary correction or concern in the middle, and close with reassurance. For example, you might start with, "I love how much you've been putting into planning our weekends." Then share your concern, "But I noticed the last few have been more stressful than fun for us." And finish with, "I know we can make this work in a way that feels good for both of us." This approach ensures she feels safe and valued even while you're addressing a problem. Without that safety, even small corrections can feel like rejection. Next is becoming the curious observer. Instead of sliding into accusation, you're always on your phone when we're together. Ask gentle, non-loaded questions. "Hey, I noticed you've been on your phone more tonight. What's going on?" Curiosity invites her to open up without feeling attacked, and often, the answer will reveal something you didn't expect. Accusations close doors, curiosity opens them. Then there's the shared problem frame. Many couples fall into me versus you thinking during conflict. Your job is to make it clear that it's us versus the problem. This could sound like, "It feels like we've both been stressed lately, and it's making us short with each other. How do we fix this together?" That simple shift turns the dynamic from adversarial to collaborative, which is exactly what keeps resentment from building. You also have to master emotional validation. This is where most men get it wrong. They think validation means agreeing with her version of events. It doesn't. It means acknowledging that her feelings are real and matter to you. If she's upset, instead of saying, "You're overreacting," you might say, "I can see this really frustrated you." You're not conceding that her interpretation is correct. You're showing that her emotions are worth your attention. This diffuses defensiveness and keeps trust intact. Finally, always shift toward future focus. Many arguments spiral because they stay stuck in the past, dissecting every detail of what went wrong. That's a dead end. Once you've acknowledged what happened and how it felt, point the conversation toward solutions. Okay, so next time, let's agree to, or here's what I think could work moving forward. What do you think? This shows leadership, optimism, and commitment to growth. It's not about erasing the past. It's about refusing to live there. When you combine these tools, warmth sandwich, curious observer, shared problem frame, emotional validation, and future focus, you create a communication style that leads without dominating and corrects without crushing connection. That's the kind of leadership a healthy relationship can thrive on. When you become the calm, warm center in the middle of her emotional storm, something powerful happens, almost like a switch flipping in the relationship. Her defenses, which may have been up for hours, days, or even years, start to drop. The tension that fuels arguments begins to dissolve. Why? Because emotional storms are rarely about the surface issue. They're about safety. And when you consistently meet her turbulence with steadiness instead of escalation, her nervous system gets the message, I'm safe here. Once that message sinks in, the need for constant arguments or emotional testing simply disappears. Over time, she begins to associate you with emotional safety in the same way a child associates a steady hand with trust when learning to walk. Your presence becomes her anchor, the place she instinctively leans toward when she's stressed, uncertain, or overwhelmed. This doesn't just stop conflict. It deepens her willingness to cooperate, to hear you out, and to align with your vision. Attraction isn't just about chemistry or shared interests. It's also about the feeling someone gives you when the world feels unstable. In that space, your calm becomes magnetic. And it's important to be clear, this is not manipulation. You're not faking calm to get something from her. You're embodying leadership in its purest form. True leadership in a relationship isn't about dominance or control. It's about creating an environment where both people can be their best selves. At its highest level, leadership is strength expressed through warmth. It's the ability to stand firm without being hard, to protect without smothering, and to guide without dictating. When you can combine that strength with genuine care, you don't just win her cooperation, you earn her lifelong trust. You are not here to win arguments. Winning an argument might give you a temporary sense of victory, but in relationships, that kind of win often comes at the cost of connection. Your real mission is bigger, to create a space where arguments aren't even necessary. That means building an environment where respect flows both ways, where you can disagree without turning into enemies, and where open, honest communication is the norm, not the exception. It's about crafting a relationship where your presence feels like home, safe, grounding, and steady, no matter what's going on outside. When you master these principles, you don't just avoid unnecessary conflict, you transform it. Disagreements stop being threats to the relationship and start becoming moments of deeper understanding. Instead of walking away with more distance, you walk away with more trust. That's when fights turn into conversations that actually bring you closer. And here's the beauty of it. You can do all this without avoiding hard truths, without burying your needs, and without losing yourself to keep the peace. It's not about silencing yourself or constantly giving in. It's about learning how to express yourself in a way that keeps the emotional connection alive while you deal with the real issues head on. That combination, honesty with warmth, truth with respect, is what makes conflict not just manageable, but transformative. If you want to learn exactly how to do this in real life, this is what we explore on Stoic 95. So if you're serious about becoming the kind of man who leads with calm strength, hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what's coming next.